Decarabia, Carabia, Carbia, Decarbia. What else do you know this Marquise as? Being a Marquise, people would say that we're dealing with something that should be dealt with mid-afternoon to sunrise of the next day, whether as a carcist, an exorcist, a demonolator. This is what the tradition is. But something that you're not going to see is this chant here. SLVHGZ, then MLX, then IZ, then capital W, VX, ZIZ, YRZ, and only the W is capital, HVX, LIV. Slumhungas Maluxes Wuxes Years Havocsliv Slumhungas Maluxes Wuxes Years Havocsliv Slumhungas Maluxes Wuxes Years Havocsliv, Slumhungas Malux is Wumxes years Havocsliv, Slumhungas Malux is Wumxes years Havocsliv. Slumhungas Malux is Wumxes years Havocsliv, Slumhungas Malux is Wumxes years Havocsliv, Slumhungas Malux is Wumxes years Havocsliv. Some would say that 69 times. Others, like me, may just say it enough to change one's feeling. And when you're chanting mantras and all that sort of stuff and formulas, you might want to pay attention to how the sounds form in the particular parts of your head or your body to create the effects. And you may want to look up how certain highs develop and produce those through techniques rather than chemicals. But we're going to say great Marquise over 30 legions, appearing first as a pentacle, then a man on command. Virtue, they say it teaches virtues of precious stones, and likenesses of birds are made to fly before the carcist, the constrainer. And the birds will sing and drink, or the specter of birds, anyways. Michael W. Ford says it's for astral and dream travel, shape-shifting, transformation into flying things, to discover the darker places of the earth. Oh, and teaching how to these things, if you're going to take the word of such an entity. And Stephanie Connolly says that it can uncover deceptions and free from obstacles. Pseudo-monarchia, pseudo-monarchio damonicum, says that it teaches virtues of herbs. So herbs and stones, like like Marbus, actually. And we have James Donahue says that it's a friend of Earth, outer body experiences, a diamond to some, and the eye in the star, much like the Necronomicon. Bidding may cost the magician. Others say it's a flaming pentacle. A.C. White says that it's a star in a circle. Is it 1 point or 2 points? But they typically say it's a 1 point up. But whether the point's up, down, left, or right, that doesn't make it sinister or whatever. That can alter the category of meaning for some, but let's not overstep that. V.K. Jehannem gives it the numbers 234 and 238 and says it's a harbinger of, or an evoker of ascent, and Demonosophia says that it's a bestower of feminine knowledge, and its offsprings are elementals, and for the transcending of ego. And scents we may want to look at include almond, anise, benzoin, black haw, catnip, caraway, cherry, cinnamon, cassia, lunaria, jasmine, Irish moss, oak moss, hibiscus, cucumber, poppy, reed, water lily, willow, coconut, chickweed, agar-agar, bamboo, elder, fennel, henna, lavender, lemon verbena, life everlasting, lily of the valley, mace, marjoram, mugwort, orchid, oregano, rose, pennyroyal, peppermint, primrose, sandalwood, savory, spearmint, star anise, thyme, dragunth, violet, wisteria. And traditionally for the moon, they put a C through D major, but the scientific would be 210.42 hertz, which is a G sharp. And that is 445.9 hertz over 440 hertz plus 22.9 centimeters, 98.6 beats per minute. And that would be the G sharp in the 29th octave. The O&A says the music for this category is mode 4, Dorian, and G major. And before I put this up, let's hear the chant once more. Slumhagas is wavx's years havxliv. And whether by experience or extra meaning that you think of, feel free to point some of the things out that come in what I have to say. And from 2011, the Decarbia, let me see, Belial, Decarbia would have been on Monday, the 29th of February. And this was between 6:26 and 6:48 p.m. No details that I thought were particularly important to share. This is the last of this series. Tell me if any of the others have gone down. I did this before, but it was lost. So 2012, I'll share the experience before I go into the language. At changing my states of consciousness, if that's what you mean by magic, which is one of the definitions, the willful change of consciousness, with study, I can create, by sensation and category of psychic awareness, with practice, I can pretty much achieve any state that I desire. And February 29th, yeah, study's important, and as long as this broadcast is allowed continue, I'm doing fine. And so this was February 29th, 2012, and this was between 6:30 and 7:04 p.m. If that's how you'll come, that's and pay attention to things, it's better than saying, oh, I'm not going to do anything of value because I'm drunk. Yeah, I'm not saying that. So, whatever state you are, paying attention to whatever's on my channel, that's fine. Do that. That's your choice. I buzzed like a hive of bees. I became calmly unaware. The silvery bell rung through my head. I felt a prickling over me and flushes of warmth. I felt a presence loom large in the place in the hall between my bedroom and the bathroom, where I pray. There was patterns of blue light shining from that spot, too. This would have been the northwest, by the way. But I kept focus on the ritual at hand. I felt shivers of euphoria and grew heady. I saw blotchy patterns of multiple colors, and lightning like flashed. I felt a thud in my chest and then in my head. I flowed over with relaxing euphoria. I sat up very straight and felt more and more tingly. I was rather sensitive. My skin flowed with euphoria. Lights danced. I saw a whirl of color before me. I felt more about I was swept in another of those whirling patterns. All was dark, and I saw only electric lights move strangely in purple haze. I was back again, and all got brighter again after a few more series of phosphenes. My eyes were wet with how happy I was. I ate the sacrament. Different type of sacrament, as you'll see in the video showing the ritual. I still feel a bit euphoric at times, but the misty cloud of brightness I have seemed to be looking through since the Eucharist is fading. And extra verses of the ritual aren't showing up here, but my Like the Goetia ritual is shown in, I'll get to the other couple things after that. My Like the Goetia ritual should be at the front of this playlist. By Like the Goetia, I mean I tried to have the same type of format and produce the same type of effect and deal with the same things that the Goetia did. And you're going to see my list of verses and such that back up that that's exactly what I was doing. So like the Goetia, it's not Goetia, it doesn't fit the word Goetia, but people are going to say, you know, but again, I share as much of the mythology from the grimoires, so this is a good place to come into the language. But my name, Jafar Sa'i Anbak Netcherwa. SABNW is the palatal rather than the dental sort of S. And, you know, that's ancient Egyptian, but the Jafar is, of course, in Arabic, Persian, other sorts of things. But anyways, so from the Aramea, which isn't really biblical Hebrew, but people call it that, we have D, which is saturate, ink sufficient enough, dew, ink, kier, furnace, range, dewy, weak, sorrowful, languishing, dew, sick, sickness, illness, weak, keyword, pot, platform, laver, scaffold, pan, hearth. You know, remember where the word pagan comes from. Yeah, the transformation of yourself psychically and spiritually, that does happen. Physically, I mean, people have surgeries, but that's not the same thing now, is it? And there's risk to those, and cost. Core, dig, pit, examine, declare, cast out, destroy, break down, furnace, core, cistern, well, dungeon, fountain, measure, core. So instead of a bright light, this ritual can kind of leave a person in sort of a pit of some sorts. We have car, pit, deep well, plain, plainly declare well, slime pit. Orub, near, kin, nigh, neighbor, next, kinsfolk, kinsman, short, approach. And if it's not your thing, feel fine to skip over the language portions of these and look at the experience and the mere statements of mythology, but you're going to find some of the things confirmed linguistically. We have herb, approach, near, offer, at hand, present, within, battle, nigh, come, approach, in, midst, inward, came, war, which is different. Be, needy, empty, sorrow, oh, alas, excuse me, inside the hand. Ducker, pierce, thrust, wound, strike. Baw, fill, void, enter, entrance. And before I get into sharing the tablet of the Navalge, I will share Egyptian stuff that relates to this. You have duck, curtain, acker, dig, farmer, husbandman, plowman, cur, dig, bowl, palm of man, hollow, lamb, captain, pasture, ram, furniture, beak, beat, siege works, fort, duke, beat, mortar, break into pieces, deca, break, break into pieces, crush, bruise, destroy, broken, contrite, destruction. And positive or negative, I guess that's as far demons kind of transcend values in a way, as long as it's done connected to them, right? You have arb, mix, market, barter, sweet, surety, metal, mingle, pledge, become, engage, intermetal, mortgage, occupier, occupy, undertake, pleasure, mixed, woof, pleasant, pleasing. You can think of the Goetia, them being chiefs of entities, chiefs of realms, and isn't that what an archon is? Chief of a land or a ruler of some sort. Rabah, abundant, increase, much, great, abundance, more, long, store, exceedingly grow. Arba, locust, grasshopper. Rabah, myriad, 10,000. Remember anywhere from 1,000 and 1,000 on horseback or entities that would be a legion, are 5,000 with 1,000 with horseback and stuff. You have a million, many, multiply. Arba, struggle, spoils. Remember Arab. This is where Arab comes from. You have ribu, myriad, 1,000, tent, 10,000. Oh, arb, lay, ambush, den, lie. Rabu, majesty, greatness. At the start of the video I did, you have Aruba is window or chimney. We have Rub is rule, master, increase, head of the family, master, abundant, archer, many, great, much, curtain, move, long, enough, mighty, multiply, greater, great, and duck, crush, mortar, the moving back and forth as if in a cup, small, oppress, afflicted, deca, break, break into pieces, crush, bruise, destroy. Okay, I did that. So 2013, and I'll start with an experience. So let's flip back to me. But I'm basically trying to share the non-book form. Well, I mean the pre-putting this into a book form here. And let me 70. Okay, 69. This was on a Monday the 4th of March, 2013. Between 7:13 to 7:59 p.m. I felt heady. I felt a moving upon my forehead and down my back. I was left hypersensitive. I felt a presence above in the north edge of the room, the size of a large serving plate, but much thicker. I saw a rich blue smoke seem to come into the ritual space from the area I often say prayers in the hallway before my bedroom. A tingly bliss poured down the back of me and down my arms and legs thrice. I was left buzzy and stilled. I saw a white bird-like twisting of white move about 6 feet off the ground in the west towards the south. Different room. I saw a pulsing of yellow small clouds later. The trance and the hypersensitivity ended at 8:07 p.m. And the garden rains candle that was seen in my Mabon ritual, probably more than one Mabon ritual, but not all of them are posted on the channel. I was doing stuff years before. And I set that dissembled descent. Yeah, Goetia number 1. I refer to the issues, and that's why I'm listing some verses here. And see, I didn't do everything in that ritual, but we had from Corinthians 1, 15, 26 through 46, wasn't said. Okay, Isaiah 44, 1 through 28, Amos 5, 18 through 27, and from Quran of what actually was used was 2, 151 to 153, and 2, 260. And so I tried to find verses in the mainstream scriptures that either expanded upon the ritual or actually specifically talked about what the grimoires were talking about. And the Egyptian, I like to do that last because I studied some each year. And, you know, we have Dak, or Dakno, which means to bite, sting, hurt, distress. Oh yeah, this is Greek, by the way. Dakru, Dakrun, or Dakruron is a tear. Dakro is weep, shed tears, weep for. Dia, strength, force, violence. Very close to the word deity, don't you think? Dead, but on the other hand, further, thus, then, but cry, shout, roar, howl, call to, praise, die, that in need of one must ought, but be known, be famous, Decarxia, or Decadarxia, is gave in. Oh, a government by 10 men. I'm sorry. BO, maintaining one's life, preserving one's life. If you've noticed, Michael W. Ford is one of the ones that I like to quote in these videos. Of he often has something to say that is, you know, unique to what he has to say. Serpentine 666, VK Jehannam, Stephanie Connolly, with Aleister Crowley, or Lon Milo Duquette, or someone else that or the Church of Hermetic Sciences was one of my, the Book of Solomon's Magic was one of my favorite ones here. Dia, asunder throughout, on account of, because of, by reason of, with a view to, right through, during, since, by means of, arising from, between the diakairo is frustrate, diakribao, do accurately, examine through, know exactly, diakruo, hinder, interpret, push away from oneself, deceive, elude, delay. Doxa is an opinion. Now, I present some views on the channels on my channel that I don't necessarily agree with, but I'm reporting on what the thing is, and you can often tell how I respond or what I couple it with, that I'm offering alternatives to some things. A doxa is an opinion, notion, expectation, a false opinion, a delusion, a fancy, a decree, a project, a judgment, a repudiation, a report, an only glory, splendor, honor, probably. Honorary, yeah, honorary. And you'll find some things, Michael W. Ford there are issues with him. I'm not saying there aren't issues with some individuals. Rab is an O master. Kurbis is a movable pillar with laws inscribed on it. And onto Latin here, we have carbo, a piece of burning or charred wood, embers, or charcoal. We have carbo, a Roman cog on men of the gens papiria. Decor, comeliness, grace, beauty. Decore, graceful, beautifully, comely. Decuria, a group of 10, a division, a class. Decurio, a head of 10, a chief of the Decuria. A Decurion, a commander of the Decuria of cavalry. Ab eo, go away, depart. And on to the ancient Egyptian, and, well, some people don't like one video on a channel. They'll probably find something else, but people have their choices. Okay. Here's the Egyptian, and that's obviously it with experience. Here we have the chur is terrible, frightening. Jerba is okay. I was able to reconnect, so I don't know where I was. So I'll restart the Egyptian portion. So I'm sorry for any repeats. We have Iyayib, which is to wander, to cause, to do. Marvelous, wonderful, to be amazed. Entities that appear like stars and stuff are usually kind of amazing. We have do a wonderful thing, to consider. We have butcher, terrible, frightening. You have jerba, or maybe just churba, which is, there's different variations. You have germ, we have churba, and it's, from old are the ancestors. We have Xruyub, which is a bird entity. We have Bia, or Bia is a calm, a gallon, a plant, a flower. Bu, wonderful. B is the name of a fiend. And the jinn in the ancient Egyptian, they knew them as invisible beings, as fire beings. But a lot of the ones that we're going to call demons, they're, the snake form is associated with it. But that is it with the Like The Goetia series. And before sharing the Enochian meditation, let's talk about the Tablet of Navalge. And
when we mention angels, celestial objects, and other things, good or evil, we can talk about them as if God is talking to these entities, or its creator, whatever you want to call it. We can talk to them, we can mention them as a cosmological statement. When I say, like in the pentagram ritual, that such an entity is this direction, that's its metaphorical place. It doesn't mean that I'm calling it to appear. Now, the three created realms kind of overlap. So there's a lot of not having to invoke or evoke. You just want to change your state of awareness to connect or oppose certain entities. And the upper left is the name is the highest life, and the context is what pleases Yod. Yod in Enochian equals 19 in number. It is also... Oh, I shouldn't talk so slow. It means is of abundance, is with all, the groups that want to replace it with another word. If that's what you believe about the devil, that's obviously the right word to use in the things. Joy, presence, praising. The lower left, the name is life. The context is the power and motion of God, the action of Yod, the power motion ministry. The upper right is the name is life, not yet defined. The context is the result of Yod's actions. Action, events, establishing. And the lower right, the name is the lowest life. The context is what displeases Yod. Mourning, conflict, puzzling. The real meaning and content presents the known and unknown qualities of Yod, the limitless. The circumference means Yod is the mover of things, and nothing is done without Yod's permission. The order and rearranging together of the parts represents how Yod is the cause of all things and does all things perfectly. And I'm sure to say more about this at another point. I know how I have in the past, but my VHSs aren't uploaded. I don't think any of them are, but anyways. Yawned, 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 yawned. Hakra yen say lawing good bumzervak amna fosa sadesias yabrade tiny little white circles are in the air. One for each square. These spheres are about the size of the thickness of the lines of the letters. Young thus and I return to my normal state of being. I feel a pleasant warmness, a slight throbbing, and a drifting. Now, I hope that people understand that when I quote a scholar or a source, I will mention whether or not I take them as, well, I don't take any scholar as, I have to have the same opinion as they do or anything like that. So that is not what I mean. But peace be upon every one of you. Vitharzi vom Sarg.